Good afternoon guys, Mac here again. It's time for another laptop review. I feel like I've done loads of them lately. Before we get into it, I need a coffee. So what are we looking at this time? Well, this time it is the 2019 13-inch MacBook Pro. I've been looking for a travel buddy machine. Now, over the years, I've used various things. Currently, for example, there's a normal iPad. I've also been trying the little Surface Go's, which I'll do another video on that at some point. And one of the things I've been struggling with is that when I'm away and when I'm traveling, and by traveling I mean, kind of holidays and tripping and all that sort of good stuff. The kind of thing I want to do when I'm away is offload all the stuff from my drone, all the stuff from my camera, all that good stuff. Now that's really hard to do on an iPad because it doesn't have that file system. And I think that's quite a big miss. I mean, that for me, if they could sort that out, that would make the iPad Pro so much more usable. Now that's one of the things I've been using the Surface Go for. But what I'm hoping is this 13-inch Pro can be used as my travel buddy, because it's a lot smaller than the 15 in terms of the room it takes up in your backpack, and yet it seems to pack quite a punch. Another complaint you get on these tech review videos is that a lot of people only tend to do the performance run-throughs of the really powerful machines. So if you look at mine, for example, I've got the i9 2019, I've got the i9 iMac, for example, that I've done a run-through. I've done a run-through of my 2018 i9. Haven't really done much of the base figure ones. This one is a 2.4 gigahertz quad-core i5 with 8 gig of RAM and a 256 gig SSD. So this is one that you can walk into a store and buy today. It's not one of the configure to order units. Now, I do like the form factor. It's that much smaller than the 15. I think traveling, quite happy to have that in my backpack, whereas when I have the 15 with me, I really know about it. So what I want to do is go through the performance of this and see whether it's something I can live with. I'm expecting a lot more than with my smaller travel units, but then these are quite pricey. I think this was about £1,700 sterling. So let's go through, we'll have a look at the performance and perhaps you can get a feel for what this machine is capable of. Here we are with our MacBook Pro. So let's start out by having a look to see exactly which one it is. So this is a 2019 13-inch unit. It's got a 2.4 gigahertz Core i5, which is a quad core, 8 gig of RAM, and a 256 gig SSD. Now, I have also installed Boot Camp on this, so we'll go and have a look at Windows under Boot Camp in a little while. Now, my plans for this unit is really as my travel buddy, and I wanted something that I can do some photography and perhaps some light video on it when I'm away from home. That's the main way I'm going to evaluate this unit, but I do have all the benchmarks. I'm going to take you through some performance examples, and I've also done some virtualization testing as well, because this is a bit better at running Windows virtualized than I expected it to be, and I think you might be a little bit surprised at that performance. But let's go and have a look at the benchmarks to start with. To start off looking at the benchmarks then, let's start by having a look at the SSD speed. Now, I will say I'm recording the screen with QuickTime. It does tend to have a little bit of an impact on the benchmarks here. So I've been seeing figures around the 1300 megabytes per second write speed and a little bit higher on the read speed as well. But I think you can see from this that the performance of the SSD is excellent. It's not quite as fast as the one in the 15-inch unit, but it's not that far off. And I suspect the speed of this drive is one of the reasons that the machine performs so well overall. It kind of makes the machine a bit more than a sum of its parts, if that makes sense. So let's get rid of that. And what we'll do is we'll go and have a look at some of the pre-prepared benchmarks from some of my other machines. So let's just open this up. So these are the results from various machines that I've had the use of over the years, and the ones we're particularly interested in is this one here. So you'll see the 2019 13-inch MacBook Pro has a single core of about 4958. Now I run these 3 times and I take the average of them, and you can see the multi-core there about 18,300. It compares really well to all the other machines. Now you'll see the 2018 MacBook Pro above it, so it's not that far off it, which is a little bit of a surprise to me. You'll of course see then the 2019 MacBook Pro 15-inch at the top, and you'll see that that one's really starting to pull away. But in terms of core benchmarking, this does perform pretty well. Now you'll see the Cinebench results on the right. Now that is for Cinebench R15. I've started to collect the R20 Cinebench for newer machines. You'll see that there. But I think you'll agree it actually benchmarks really well in Geekbench 4 and Cinebench. And I think the performance of the machine kind of bears that through. So let's have a look at some of the general performance of this. Before we do that, let's just fire up the Intel Power Gadget. Now I've been running the benchmarks and stuff on this, so it is running a little bit hot at the moment at about 70 degrees. In terms of the temperature of the case, it's very similar to my 15-inch i9, so in the middle of the case just below the screen, so where the MacBook Pro logo is, it's hitting around 45 degrees, which, like I say, is very similar to my 15-inch. I've not seen any throttling on this unit, and I've not heard of any throttling on the 13-inch either. But yeah, anyway, let's have a look at some of the performance of the Office apps on here. So let's just fire up Word. Now this is a cold booted machine, so these will be the first time that I've fired up these apps in this session. Let's fire up Excel and perhaps PowerPoint. There we go. So I think you can see the performance in Office apps is excellent. Now it doesn't feel that different to using my i9 or iMac Pro, which, bear in mind they're only Office apps, so how stressful can they be? But from a productivity point of view, I don't think you'd have any issue with this machine whatsoever. So let's move on and let's have a look at virtualization, because that surprised me a little bit in that it's a lot more capable than I think I expected it to be. So I have a Windows 10 machine configured in parallel. So let's just have a quick look at the configuration of it. You'll see that I've got 8 processors allocated. Now, of course, it's not 8 processors. It's actually 4 cores with hyperthreading and 4 gig of RAM allocated to this unit. Now, I think the machine, if anything, is going to be a bit RAM restricted while we're actually doing things like virtualization, but I think you'll be a bit surprised at the performance. So let's get this Windows 10 machine fired up. There we go. Like I say, it performs really well. So let's get logged in. And there we are. And as you can see, it performs really, really quite well. Far better than I was expecting. Now, of course, we can still run all our Mac OS apps. So let's fire up Office again. There's Word, there's Excel. All the time we still have Windows running. Now let's have a quick look at Activity Monitor as well. So as you can see under the memory pressure is going to be quite high, but it's still not red. And that's all while we have a Windows 10 machine running as well. So let's have a look at the performance of the Windows 10 machine. So let me fire up Excel. We can fire up Word as well. And of course PowerPoint. So as you can see, it's very, very quick, surprisingly so, in fact. Now we can also use something called coherence mode in parallel. So let me just get rid of Office here. And what I'll do is I'll switch this to coherence. Now what coherence does in Parallels is it effectively makes all the Windows apps appear just as Windows in your Mac OS environment. So for example, you can see our Windows version of Word running there, we can see the Windows version of Excel, and the Windows version of PowerPoint. Now again, this is performing a lot better than I was expecting, and it is incredibly usable. I would be quite happy using this for my general productivity stuff as and when I need Windows. So let's switch back to our full screen. Let me just close down those Office apps there. So what about things like snapshotting? Well, let me just pop this back into a window. And what we'll do is we'll take a snapshot. There you go, and that's done. It's very, very quick. It's far faster than Fusion. Restoring snapshots, it seems to be the thing that takes time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove Office from this machine. I won't make you sit through that. And what we'll do is we'll then restore that snapshot. That's all removed, didn't take too long at all. And like I say, the performance is surprisingly positive. So what I'm going to do now is just restore that snapshot. So it's pretty easy. We go up to the actions. We're going to say revert to snapshot and say yes, and off it's going to go and restore that snapshot. And as you'll see, it doesn't take that long at all. And there we go, we have all our Office apps back. So I think that the single thing that surprised me the most about this machine is how usable this is for running a virtual machine. Now, I don't think you're going to get more than 1 or 2 running at any one time, but like I say, it's quite a pleasant surprise and so much better than the experience I had on the MacBook Air that I had, which I had to return because it just wasn't anything like good enough for what I was hoping it was going to be. So let me get this machine fired down or shut down. And what we'll do now is we'll have a look at the performance in Final Cut Pro. I will say my expectations for this machine weren't particularly high. After testing the 2018 MacBook Air, for example, I just gave up on that and returned it. But the experience on this machine is completely different. And of course you'd expect that because this is a pro machine. My videos don't tend to be that complex. They're perhaps 1 or 2 layers with some graphic overlay. So if your videos are more complex than that, you may have a different experience. But I could certainly see myself using this for video editing out on the road. It is totally usable. Let's also have a look at the export times, and we can compare that with my i9 2019 MacBook Pro as well, and we can just see what the performance comparison is. What we're looking at here is just the export of one of my YouTube videos. This one is a base review of the 2019 i9 15-inch MacBook Pro, and what I'm doing is just running the same export exactly as I would as if I was going to be publishing it to YouTube. And what I found is this machine finishes the whole thing in about 8 minutes and 40 seconds. Now, to give you an idea, when I run this on the 8-core i9 15-inch, it finishes it in just over 6 minutes. So there is a fair difference between the two, but it's not a massive amount. Now, my videos are relatively straightforward. They're not that particularly complex. So what I'm thinking is that this unit will suit me quite well for doing video editing and video publishing while I'm out on the go. And I have to say, that is a bit of a surprise to me. What we're looking at here then is a handbrake conversion of some of my travel videos. So in the bottom right hand side you'll see the same conversion being carried out on the 2019 8-core i9 machine, and in the main screen you'll see it on this quad-core 13-inch unit. Now the i9 15-inch unit completed the conversion in 58 minutes and 49 seconds, whereas the 13-inch quad-core completed it in 1 hour and 37 minutes. So I did expect it to be slower, so I'm not surprised by those results. The question is that workable for you? Well, that really comes down to your workloads and how you work every day. If I was doing similar work to this, that difference I might find quite irritating. But, you know, for my general usage, if I'm out and about on the road, which is what I intend on using this laptop for, I don't think that performance gap is going to be much of an issue, but your usage may vary, so perhaps that's something you might want to think about. Anyway, this video is getting a bit long and boring now, but I hope that gives you some indication of what kind of performance you can expect from this unit. Myself, I'm a bit surprised at the performance of it. The last time I had a 13-inch unit was probably 4 or 5 years ago, and I always found the performance a little bit frustrating. To be fair, that was probably down to the kit that I get to use every day for work. This one, quite pleasantly surprised, and I'm expecting only good things for it. Anyway, hope you found it useful. Till next time.